accept the nomination. I, Akim Olufemi Gbajabiamila. God bless you all.
You're onto the program House Tickets, your weekly legislative window into the activities of the House of Representatives, Federal Republic of Nigeria. I am Dehelia Mamza, your guide on the program. The House is still on its short recess to enable lawmakers spend time with constituents. It is billed to resume on the 18th of January 2022. And so, this episode will review some of the motions debated by the House in the last quarter of 2021. We also spoke with Honourable Babangida Ibrahim on a range of issues as it concerns the House performance in 2021. Details of this interview will come your way in the course of the program. And since the break was an opportunity for members to touch base with constituents, House Ticket brings you a report from Abia State, where the Deputy Chief Whip of the House, Lawmaker Nkiruka Onyejeocha, celebrated with her people during the Christmas break. All this coming your way in the course of the program. Please don't go away.
If we set our minds right, embrace each other in love and brotherhood, we will come through these troubling times. We will survive, we will recover, and then we will thrive. One nation under God, free, peaceful, and prosperous.
Thanks for staying tuned. The program will start with the interview we had with Representative Babangida Ibrahim, who happens to be the Chairman House Committee on Capital Market and Institutions. The lawmakers started with an assessment of the performance of the 9th House.
In terms of making laws, you will find that this assembly has done extremely very well in passing bills, very, very important and critical bills. Just like any other assembly, we are still embarking on constitutional amendments. And the Committee of Constitutional Amendment has gone far in ensuring that amendments are made, relevant amendments. So if you look at the petroleum industry bill, petroleum industry bill has passed several assemblies. Every time at the end of the day, it will be dropped. This time around, in the 9th assembly, we are lucky to pass the Petroleum Industry Act, which the NNP Incorporated, NPC Limited, and other two companies that are to form the former NNP has already been incorporated, and even they have announced the process of transition.
Other bills Honourable Babangida Ibrahim listed as successes included the amendment of the electoral law and the passage and establishment of the Northeast Development Commission, NEDC, while work is ongoing on other establishment bills to confront the infrastructural challenges particular to the various geopolitical zones. Honourable Babangida spoke on some challenges the House contended with.
So at a point, we are operating skeleton once in a week. In fact, it was later that we now resume once in a week, but we locked down for almost 3 months. This affected the performance of the assembly because of the COVID protocol, the way you engage with stakeholders, the way you receive visitors in the National Assembly. So all these things affected the performance of the 9th Assembly, but so far so good. The 9th Assembly has done well, and I can assure you Nigerians should expect more from the 9th Assembly.
The lawmaker, however, said there is need to improve the budgetary process.
The 2020 budget, the government intended to to maintain the fiscal period of January to December. Unfortunately, they have to come back and we make an extension of another 3 months. This time around also, we realized that the procurement process started late, and December is almost rounding up, and there are still pending procurement issues. So we just pray we'll be able to meet up with the December deadline. Otherwise, there has to be an extension. So why I say the budgetary process is an area that we need to improve. I see it's not about bringing budget in September, fast-tracking it. We have to be thorough in the way and manner the MDAs present their reports. You discover that an MDA will present a report on capital projects. They will just give you a record of last year and this year. Ordinarily, they are supposed to give us the history of the project. When was the project commenced? Was there any variation on the project? How much has been committed on the project? All these things. Variations because of inflation, all these are issues that need to be thoroughly dealt with.
The lawmaker also spoke on his committee, highlighting some of the activities in the year 2021.
Ours is to supervise the regulators, which are the SEC, the investment tribunal also are part of us, and the commodity exchange. All of them, as an agency, are trying their best in ensuring that the best is achieved in their respective MDAs.
Representative Babangida added that his committee is planning to call all stakeholders in the capital market, including operators, regulators, and the National Assembly, to discuss some of the pertinent issues in the capital markets.
We want a situation where government itself will have keen interest and focus in the capital market. Recently, a lot of state governments went to the capital market to issue sukuk bond. Most of the states now, for their infrastructure, they are following suit to what federal government has done 2-3 years ago by issuing sukuk bond. They issue it through the capital market. So most of the state government are now going to the capital market and are issuing sukuk bond for provision of infrastructure in their respective states. So part of what we intend to do, we are trying to see a situation where we call all the stakeholders, both the operators, the regulators, and the National Assembly. Let us discuss some of the pertinent issues in the capital market so that we'll be able to know these issues, are they operational? Are they have to do with the law itself, which we believe we have already taken measures by repealing the Investment and Security Act.
That was Lawmaker Babangida Ibrahim speaking on some issues as it concerns the 9th Assembly and the Committee on Capital Markets. When House Ticket returns after the break, we shall take a review of some of the motions it considered in the last quarter of the year 2021. Keep watching.
The last quarter of 2021, spanning October to December, was largely taken up by budget-related activities. However, when the House resumed on the 9th of November after a break taken to allow committees consider the budget, it considered a number of motions. One of the first motions taken then was on insecurity in the Federal Capital Territory, decaying infrastructure, among other criminal vices. The motion, sponsored by Deputy Minority Leader Toby Okechukwu, was titled Urgent Need to Arrest the Fast Deterioration of the Federal Capital Territory.
Lack of modern security infrastructure in the city, center, and the satellite towns, and non-maintenance of available ones, including CCTV installations and as little as street lights. The House notes with concern the poor city management bedeviling the FCT, resulting in obvious disorderliness and widespread deterioration.
On the matter, a lawmaker reported that the issue is already being addressed by the Standing Committee of the House on FCT.
Committee of FCT have taken actions, based on the organic functions given to them by the House.
Okay. Well, when was the subcommittee set up by the committee? About 3 weeks ago, and they're still writing letters. What was the terms of reference of the committee set up?
Yeah,
subcommittee.
One of the terms of reference of the committee, one, is to look into most of the infrastructures of the FCT, and one of them also is on estate estate, the way the estates have been built and degenerating.
As a matter of fact, I raised issues about constituting the administrative structures of government. Without the enabling personnel, Mr. Speaker, nobody can perform magic. You can't do all the job. That administration must be enabled. We must see things happen. You delegate responsibilities. So I do not think we are trying to impinge on the responsibilities we have given to the committees.
The motion was adopted and passed.
Ayes have it.
There was another motion by Representative Manusoro which called on the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing to earnestly begin the process of disposing the completed houses constructed under the National Housing Program to deserving Nigerians.
The investigation by the Guardian newspaper, which revealed that the Federal Ministry of Works and Housing received 66 billion naira in 2016, 41 billion naira in 2017, 26.7 billion naira in 2018, and 34 billion naira in 2019, and 60.8 billion naira in 2020 budgets, respectively, totaling 26 billion naira for the National Housing Program. Nearly 4,000 houses have been completed and have remained unoccupied.
In a resolution, the Committee on Housing and Habitat was mandated by the House to ascertain the volume of funds released for all the relevant housing development projects and ascertain the number of houses completed before the process of disposing them. The Housing and Habitat Committee is to interface with the Ministry of Works and Housing to ensure compliance. On the 18th of November 2021, the House considered a motion on the need to upgrade correctional centers in Nigeria. It was sponsored by Lawmaker Muhammad Gudaji Kazauri. The House, in taking a resolution on the motion, urged the federal government to rehabilitate and upgrade the correctional centers with the latest and sophisticated arms such as GPMG and automatic machine guns, and attach security electric fence wires attached with shocking gadgets and highlight sophisticated CCTV cameras. The House also urged the federal government to take over the payment of electricity bills of the correctional centers in Nigeria or exempt the centers from paying electricity bills.
Ayes have it.
The minority leader of the House, Representative Ndudi Elumelu, in the period under review, has been concerned about the relationship and treatment of Nigerians with and by other countries. In a motion sponsored by him in November, the lawmaker called on the House to intervene in the diplomatic row between Nigeria and the United Arab Emirates.
What you now find, Mr. Speaker, is that if you have to go to, for instance, India or Saudi, now passing through, you have to go to Ghana and now be stamped for 14 days to show that you have stayed in Ghana for 14 days before you can be allowed to transit through UAE. Or you go to Kenya or neighboring countries. And these are countries that used to look up to us for their survival. Today, Ghana no longer requires visa to enter UAE. So something must be wrong, Mr. Speaker. And I think that these committees will find solution by finding out what are the, apart from even looking for avenue of ensuring that we resolve the issue of them being able to come in and go out. Why have we gone so low?
That the first time I was discussing with somebody from there, he told me the first robbery they recorded are from Nigerians here, traveling there, in the name for greener pasture. We are the ones who are doing ourselves by our conduct, by what we go to do. There's no reason why somebody, if you are going for a genuine business, he would deny you entry to come. But when you are coming to corrupt his own system, to spoil his own people, how will he allow you? A video was trending of how some Nigerians were arrested in Ghana. They were arrested for the purpose of or the crime in terms of what the new crime in terms of internet and other fraudsters. And there were numbers, more than 20, 30 arrested in one compound. Somebody issuing visas to people going to Saudi Arabia for some of this crime that is going on through Libya and whatever, you'll be shocked that the people who are given the license are possibly in the religious affairs, and they are the ones who are now carrying innocent Nigerians for either slavery and other bad crimes that is going on. I think we need to call a spade a spade. First, our own conduct, our behavior, and I will urge the National Orientation Committee to also be involved in this matter, because we need to go out to reorient ourselves.
In response to the matter, the House constituted an ad hoc committee of 23 members chaired by Representative Buba Yusuf Yaqub, with the mandate to interface with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Aviation and the National Intelligence Agency (NIA), Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Immigration Services, Nigeria Diaspora Commission, Treaties and National Orientation on the best ways of resolving the crisis, and report back to the House on the assignment in 4 weeks. The Deputy Minority Whip also moved a motion calling on the House to immediately address the racist-like ban on Nigerian travelers by the United Kingdom (UK) and how it will have a negative effect on the Yuletide celebration as well as the economy of the nation.
So I want this House to rise up, as we have always done, to look into this matter and direct our Committee on Foreign Affairs COVID-19 Presidential Task Force to see how they can interface with the Embassy of the United Kingdom so as to resolve this matter as quick as possible.
To ensure we protect the citizens of our country wherever they are, and where unduly we are met with measures that are not in line with international, we deploy other means to sort out issues in favor of our people.
The motion was voted on and adopted.
That's it.
How Nigerians are being treated.
The minority leader of the House, Ndudi Elumelu, moved a motion on the need to address the way Nigerians are treated by airlines and other countries. The motion referred to an online video that emerged of Nigerian travelers being manhandled by Togolese security authorities following a stopover in Lome to the United States. The lawmaker called for an open apology from the Togolese government and the victims evacuated back to Nigeria and duly compensated.
Mr. Speaker, I believe that our neighboring countries should have the respect that Nigerian people deserves. There is no African country today in Nigeria in Africa that Nigeria has not extended their hands of other friendship or assistance to. The committee should also liaise.
Representative Alhassan Adodogwa proposed an amendment to mandate the Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs to handle the issue and not the leadership of the House.
I was trying to really speak to the first prayer which he has mentioned while presentation. And just like Mr. Speaker has said, you actually said leadership. So I was trying to make that correction, that this is a matter that does not go beyond the level of our Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs. And I would like to also add that wherever Nigerians are, this House, the House of Representatives, must always stand by our people, especially in situations or cases where their legitimate rights are infringed upon.
There was no debate on the motion as it was adopted. Review of motions in the last quarter of 2021 will not be complete without mention of the House concern over students in boarding schools and the issue of bullying. Representative Idem Onyime on the 7th of December moved a motion on the need to condemn the trend of inhuman treatments in boarding schools nationwide. The motion also called for a comprehensive investigation into the activities in the boarding system of secondary education. In leading the debate, Representative Idem expressed sadness over the recent death of 12-year-old Sylvester Oromoni, whose demise was from internal injuries and complications as a result of bullying, among other examples.
Recent developments in our boarding schools is something that really calls for, attention of the lawmakers. Because these children that are being wasted, these children that are being molested, are the children that we are representing. They are our constituents. So we cannot watch this kind of situation happening in our boarding schools across the entire country.
The motion was largely debated on the floor of the House, with lawmakers lamenting the menace of bullying in boarding schools while making suggestions on a way forward.
That the newly created Safety Standard Committee and Committee on Education to conduct a review of safety regulations and guidelines in public schools.
Still on the negative happenings in boarding schools, Honourable Mark Billa moved a motion on the suspected rape and murder of 14-year-old Miss Karen Hapuch, who eventually died from infections arising from her rape.
Was allegedly raped.
He raised alarm over the unwillingness and lack of proactive measures and thorough investigation by the Nigerian Police Force and Premier Academy.
Nigerian authorities do not appear to recognize their obligation to adopt and implement appropriate measures to ensure women and girls are protected from all forms of violence, including rape and sexual harassment, considering the nation's ratification of several domestic, regional, and international protocols and charters on women's rights, ending violence against women, and other human rights laws.
The House resolved to urge the Nigerian Police Force to thoroughly investigate mysteries surrounding the death of Karen, allegations of harassment and threats to the life of Karen's family, and the leader of a coalition of gender-based violence and his family, among other issues. It also mandated the Committee on Women Affairs, Human Rights and Police Affairs to ensure compliance.
You are still watching House Tickets, a weekly review of plenary, committee works and other events from the Green Wing of the National Assembly. The recess by the House in December was to enable lawmakers spend the Christmas and New Year with their constituents. The Deputy Minority Whip, Honourable Nkiruka Onyejeocha, was in her constituency and touched the lives of her people in her usual way. Let's get that report.
Lawmaker Nkiruka Onyejeocha's visit home was characterized by celebrations, prayer and thanksgiving. It was also an opportunity to share goodwill in kind to the people, particularly women. During the festivities, the lawmaker also hosted some of the members of her community in her home in Isiochi, where she distributed wrappers, yams, cash and other incentives as Christmas gifts. Some of the beneficiaries expressed their delight towards the lawmaker's visit and generosity towards her people.
I'm a widow. Adeja Gamba built a house for me when my husband died 2018. 3 weeks. If you come to my compound, it's wonderful. It's a wonderful woman. Adeja Gamba, God will protect her.
Similarly, a Thanksgiving service was earlier organized on the 27th of December 2021 in Amuda, Isiochi in Umunochi local government area to celebrate mercies and elevation of victory. The annual Thanksgiving had in attendance Abia State APC members, stakeholders, community leaders and government officials alongside the lawmaker. On the same day, Representative Nkiruka Onyejeocha also took out time to visit the Abia State APC leader, Mr. Ikechi Emenike, in his hometown in Umuahia local government area. Here, Christmas gift items were also distributed to constituents. On 28th of December 2021, Lawmaker Nkiruka also distributed bags of rice, wrappers, cars and motorcycles as well as other items to 700 widows in her local government. While distributing the items to the beneficiaries, Representative Nkiruka explained that this gesture was part of efforts to fulfill her campaign promises by providing support to her people. Items distributed included rice and wrappers to the widows across the 22 wards in her constituency, 150 motorcycles and 15 cars. The lawmaker also made available COVID-19 vaccination for members of her community to be protected against coronavirus.
It is important that everybody should be vaccinated against COVID-19 to reduce the spread. And we also thank Madam Honourable Nkiruka Onyejeocha for allowing us to come and vaccinate people against COVID-19.
There was a prayer reception in the Lawmakers Hall, organized in appreciation of our support and effective representation. Grand finale of Lawmaker Nkiruka's outing was an annual carol of 9 lessons organized by the lawmaker for prayers, thanksgiving, praise, and worship in appreciation for the gift of life. The lawmaker appreciated her people while speaking on the significance of the season.
So I thank you all. We are going to enjoy the rest of the night. But I say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for being there for me. I will also be there for you. God has shown us love, and He has shown us tremendous mercy. I believe that with God, all things are possible.
The event, which featured presentations of different kinds, included a dance competition, after which winners received cash prizes.
Your cash prize. Congratulations.
As we draw the curtains for this week's edition of the program, we urge you to follow the program on our social media platforms on display. And don't forget to send in your feedback through questions, comments, and observations on the workings of the legislature. Remember to stay safe always. See you next time.